Hey, I'm Malachi, author of Conquer Your Summit: How to Build a 5-Year Plan and Live Your Best Life. As I just mentioned, I am an author, but I am also a musician, a muralist, an entrepreneur, and a project manager from various industries. I am constantly going back and forth through all my passions, which makes my work and life balance sometimes very challenging. Life can seem like it's sometimes a bit of a spiral of what am I doing? Am I on the right course? How do I get to where I want to be? Sound familiar? Well, I am here to talk about the Summit Method. It's a life planning technique developed to help everyday people stop the spiral and get to where they want to be. From my diverse experience with 10 plus years in aerospace, where I was constantly jumping around on finding success in hobbies, passions, goals, financial, career, where I wanted my community to grow, I needed a way to put all of those pieces together and chart a course for success. In the beginning, it was just a method I developed, and I used it to get to where I needed to go. But now I call it the Summit Method. And I'm here to share it with all of you because my goal is to help others on their path to greatness. I didn't figure out how to both balance a career in aerospace and follow my passions without discipline and structure. Today, I'm going to share with you the secrets to adding the Summit Method into your life. My goal here is to give you a ton of value in this video, which will cover most of the topics of my book in a simple format for you to consume in a short amount of time. You will walk away with the ability to start making plans, and I know that you will be able to find success. My book, Conquer Your Summit: How to Build a 5-Year Plan and Live Your Best Life, focuses on providing logic and order around personal growth, financial freedom, career success, and community impact. These are the 4 mountains of success within the Summit Method, and maybe you have noticed some outdoor themes going on visually. Well, I'm a big fan of nature, and I love to draw the metaphorical theme of climbing a mountain into accomplishing your goals, aka conquering your summits. Before we get all educational, I do want to reiterate that this method is something that I actively use in my life, and it has made a difference in helping me make some pretty challenging decisions, realize where maybe I was going off course, and have the insights to grow beyond where I thought I could. Here is an example. I used the Summit Method to go from writing and performing my music for 15 years with this goal of recording my album one day, but always one day. I never actually did anything about it. Yet, year after year, it was on my goal list. Sound familiar? Goals that just keep showing up? I had to figure out what obstacles were in my way here. How could I actually make this goal? So, during one of my summit events, which is something we will get into later, I was reviewing my financials and comparing it to my goals. I realized it was time to gather the facts and actually map out the many steps it would take to get there. Because I was willing to use a positive growth mindset and chart out what it would take to actually reach this album recording goal, I finally could see that the wall I created around this dream was actually not as high as I perceived it to be. I was struggling with trying to record everything myself, spiraling into a perfectionism fixed mindset, and getting nowhere year after year. After using this very useful summit event full of planning, I figured out the real next steps to getting to my goal. Since then, I have been able to professionally record most of my music. This is an example of how you can use the Summit Method with, elevating a hobby or a passion. Just imagine what it could do for everything else in your life. The Summit Method is simple, but you must follow all 3 phases if you want to have lasting success and forward progress. They are number 1, mental tools. Number 2, planning techniques. And number three, execution habits. Let's dive into each one and how they will transform your life into the direction you want to go. Phase one, mental tools. Making plans in life, whether it's for 5 or 10 years down the road, or maybe just only the next couple of months, you are bound to run into obstacles. Maybe you find out you have more debt than you thought, and it puts you into a worrying spiral. Or you have challenges with deciding a major career change, struggling with friends or family relationships, or you're just trying to wrap your head around all those personal growth goals you have running around through your mind. These are all conflicting emotions and thoughts. You have to learn to quickly overcome them in order to reach success. How do you do it? Mental tools. You need to leverage one of these mental tools when you feel your mind spiraling out of control. Number one, your deepest why or life purpose statements. Number two, a positive growth mindset. And number three, a mind, body, spirit exercise. A powerful method to snap out of a mental spiral is remembering your deepest why. Write out your deepest why or life purpose statements. Then use this every time you need to get a spark of motivation to keep you going. Your deepest why needs to be powerful, a burning fire that speaks to your mind and your soul. But how do you create one? Try this. You need to create a simple mind map. That's a blank sheet of paper with a center bubble, which is a thought prompt inside. In this, you will answer each of the questions I'm about to say in a separate mind map. You're going to give yourself 5 minutes for each one. Don't limit yourself. All thoughts are accepted. This is a point where you need to let loose and bring everything that comes to mind. Just start writing out lines from that center prompt and get going. So, what are the questions? Well, what does your ideal life look like? What events or people have influenced you, good or bad? And how do you want to make a difference in yourself or others? Take all the ideas you came up with from your separate mind maps and identify any themes that are coming clear. Do any of these ideas speak to you more than others? Think through the themes and start crafting your why or life purpose statements. Write it out somewhere that you can see regularly. Leverage a positive growth mindset. Whether you accept it or not, you do have the power to change your mind and leverage its incredible abilities. Too often we make excuses, use negative thoughts, and limit ourselves without actually looking at the facts. If you want to have success, you have to learn to use a mindset change muscle and turn a fixed mindset into a positive growth one. So, what does this mean in practice? When you feel yourself slipping into negativity and self doubt, you have to take a moment to gather the facts in a situation. Choose to ask what a growth minded reaction would look like and practice actually using words and actions in that situation that would emulate a positive growth mindset. Example: if there's something in your life that scares you, and not like irrational fears, but something such as maybe the fear of an opportunity, such as, hey, I'm a muralist and I want to get more muralist gigs. I will never get anywhere if I don't put myself out there. So, what does that mean? I can't be afraid to walk into a shop and talk to the manager or owner just because I fear rejection or all the other negative thoughts spiraling in my head. No, I have to change. I have to have a positive growth mindset that every experience, whether good or bad, is an opportunity for growth. Growth in learning for the next round of success that will eventually come after you have learned and grown. You must be willing to unleash the fear and open yourself up for positivity. It takes practice. So start today. Think of a moment where you might have had a negative reaction, whether internally or externally. And maybe it wasn't necessary to have, but how could you take that moment, that memory you have right now, and imagine what could you have done differently? How could you have thought differently? That is practice. Keep doing this, and you will start becoming a natural, and you will actually leverage this in the moment to leverage a positive growth mindset. The next mental tool is mind, body, spirit, the exercise. If all else fails, you need to have the mental tool that allows you to just completely reset. That is the mind, body, spirit exercise, and it can do just that: reset. You simply stop what you are doing and ask yourself the following three questions. Number one, what is my mind thinking about right now? What's racing through there? What's, cluttering all of your thoughts? Number two, what does my body feel like? The good, the bad, the aches, the pains. Maybe you feel energized. What's happening for you right now? And number three, what is my spirit saying? Your spirit is the connection from your heart to your mind. It's what fire fuels you in your motivation each day. What is your spirit saying? So now you need to listen to your answers. And for best results, say it out loud to yourself so you can't hide in your mind with your responses. Ask yourself if you need to change the way of your thinking, maybe your situation, or do you need to get to a better place? If you do this with a partner, you will have an upgraded experience and added accountability. You now know the three mental tools required to pack in your backpack and use as needed when you come up against obstacles on your journey. Remember your deepest why, your positive growth mindset, and the mind, body, spirit exercise. Moving on to the next phase of the Summit Method, Phase 2, Planning Techniques. There are three specific phases you need to create as part of your Summit event. Let's talk about all three and then explain what a Summit event is. You have a 5-year plan, a 2-year action plan, and quarterly goals. Let's dive in. A 5-year plan is where you are going to leverage your planning sandwich. If you feel overwhelmed about thinking 3, 5, 10 years in advance, here's an easy method to consider. All you have to do is make a sandwich. The bottom bread is your current state, the top bread is your big 5-year dreams or goals, and the ingredients in between are the steps required to get there. The bottom bread is your current state, so let's dive into a little bit more about what that means and how you will accomplish that. You are going to write down your current state within personal growth, financial, career, and community. This will be easy because I have a free planning template. If you go to www.conqueryoursummit.com/resources, you will be able to find something there that will help you do all of this planning. Or you can make your own, whatever is easiest for you. So, write down everything you are doing right now in your life centered around personal growth, financial, career, and community. So, what does that mean though? Let's go into a little bit more detail. When you're looking at your personal growth, that's going to be things like travel, education, spirituality, health, big events. What's the personal things in your life, hobbies that you're trying to get your passions through? Number 2 is your financials. So you're going to pull bank accounts, income amounts, cash, savings, debt, investments, whatever your financial portfolio looks like. The third is your current state of your career. So that's what job do you do in exchange for money? Maybe it's multiple jobs. Write out everything you're doing for your career right now, what title you are, etc. Then number 4 is going to be your current state around community. So make a list of your family and friends that are super close to you, the ones that really matter, and you want to continue to grow those relationships. Also note down any external community environments that you're a part of, such as volunteer or social groups, coworkers, etc. These are the people outside of your friends and family, but they're critical to you in your life. Now, grab your top bread. The top bread of your planning sandwich is your future vision and goals for where you want to go 5 years away, or whatever amount of time you want to focus on. I use 5 years, but the concept can work for any number. You now need to do a couple of mind maps on a blank sheet of paper to get your mental juices flowing. Remember, a mind map is something that doesn't have any rules, and you can write down any idea you want. Nothing is right or wrong. It's about thinking deeply and really answering what you need or want in your life. Let's dive into your 5 year plan mind maps. Here are the mind map questions you need to answer and set aside 5 minutes each to complete. The first one is, what personal growth goals do you have for the next 5 years? The big ones. That could be education, travel, big events, spiritual fitness, etc. The second mind map is, what does your ideal life look like when it comes to money? List out your vision here and add your financial goals. Number 3, what does your ideal career look like? This would be companies, titles, maybe businesses you want to start yourself. How do you want to make an income? And lastly, number 4, think about friends, family, and external community. Are there any big goals you want to have for the next 5 years? List out everything that comes to mind. Some examples for this one might be, do you want to have kids? Maybe more kids? How do you want to change your family dynamics? Stronger relationships in general, family reunions, more friends, cut out toxic people in life, or maybe join specific organizations. Now that you have answered those 4 mind maps, you're going to select 3 to 5 goals or themes. So you're going to take those mind maps and try to pick out, again, the 3 to 5 that speak the most to you. And that's within your personal growth, financial, career, and community. Then write it down into your planning template. This is the top bread of the planning sandwich. You're going to look into your future vision, the big dreams you have. Maybe they seem a little daunting. So, what do you do now after you've selected these 3 to 5? You need to look at the next steps. What makes a sandwich good is the ingredients. To get from the bottom to the top bread, or from A to B in life, you must have mini steps or mini goals to get there. These are your ingredients. Once you complete the hard part of deciding your bigger long-term goals, you can now find the 1 to 5 smaller steps in order to accomplish those. And if you need help, use AI. Look on a search engine or find a mentor in that particular field or goal who has already succeeded in that endeavor. They will be able to help you chart out the 1 to 5 next steps that you need to do in order to achieve your goal. Maybe it's buying a house, starting a family, getting a big promotion, completing a degree in school, or accomplishing a hobby. These all have many steps to reach the top. So, you need to reference them here as the ingredients of your planning sandwich. After doing the research and determining what the steps are to get to that goal, you need to take the ingredients and spread them over your 5 year period. For each mountain of success, that's personal growth, financial, career, and community, you will have 1 to 5 mini steps or individual goals across time so that you can have a focus. And each year in your big 5 year plan, you know you're trying to accomplish that particular year's focus, the mini steps to get from your current state to the end of your 5 year goal. So, what happens when some of these goals don't take 5 years? That's okay. Just plot out everything as it makes sense in your timeline. You have now a 5 year plan. But how do we make it more effective? Well, we need more details. To make a 2 year action plan, you have to get out your magnifying glass and focus on the next 2 years by the month level. 1 year isn't enough to be able to foresee where you need to make changes and shifts for success. But 2 years is too long to try to think in that much monthly detail. So, for 2 years, you will map out specifically what you are focusing on for each month. These are your mini steps or mini goals for each month of those first 2 years of your 5 year plan. This is what feeds towards the progress of the bigger goals. Then, you might have to do a little more research at this point. Here, you're going to break down those big steps you made in the 5 year plan into a little bit smaller chunks that can fit into each month for your 2 year action plan. Get one action written in each month that supports each of your mountains of success. So that's one action for personal growth, one for financial, one for career, and one for community. Then you can always have the same one over, 3 months straight if you feel like it's going to take that long to do that one particular action. Or maybe it's 6 months, whatever amount of months you think it will take to go in that direction. But then you'll be able to use your best judgment to say, this might take 6 months. In the seventh month, I'm going to work towards this next step in a particular line goal for, let's say, financial. Over time, you'll see this 2 year detail start to come to fruition. It's so important to do this because that is how you're going to be able to provide value to your yearly planning and objectives that are coming up next. The last step in your planning techniques is to develop and record quarterly goals. The 5 year plan helps you think big and have a vision for your life with some steps along the way overarching each year. The 2 year action plan forces you to get into the detail by month. But without a compass or a way to check in with your map, you are bound to go off course. You must make quarterly goals based on your plans. These are the mini steps or goals that sit at the end of each 3 months every year. So, what do? You need to create a list of one quarterly goal for each mountain of success: personal growth, financial, career, and community. Base this one goal on your 5 year plan and 2 year action plan. It needs to be this one driving, guiding light or mini step you need to make progress on during that quarter. Every 3 months, you will have a brief check in with your plans to make sure you are on target and adjust as needed. Let's put it all together. These are the 3 planning techniques, but what is the summit event? I mentioned this earlier, and the summit event is a time you must set aside to do all of this work. Your life will not plan itself, and you are not likely to get success magically overnight. You need discipline and some dedicated time to plan. I have outlined an agenda for a one-day planning event to help you kickstart the Summit Method, which is included in the free planning template at www.conqueryoursummit.com/resources. The Summit event is a full day for the first time because you have a lot to organize and write down when you're making your 5 year plan, the 2 year action plan, and your quarterly goals. It's time to get away from the everyday bustle of life. So, you need to find somewhere else to go other than being at home. Now, maybe you're saying you have to be at home for some reason. Then I want to challenge you to move around furniture and create a place that's a little bit different than your everyday life. The important part here is you have to disconnect from the distractions around you. You need to sit down and complete your full planning sandwich. At this time, I will mention that the Summit Method is something you can absolutely do by yourself, but it's exponentially more effective if you actually have a planning partner along the way. This could be a best friend or a spouse, but it's about building up all your plans together. It allows you to have this powerful sense of accountability that you wouldn't have when you're doing it all alone. So every 3 months, you would then check in with that person and be able to accelerate your progress in life. In review, you just learned about Phase 2 planning techniques, which included a 5 year plan, a 2 year action plan, quarterly goals, and all culminating in your Summit event. The last phase of the Summit Method is execution habits, Phase 3. Without regular habits for execution, you will have done all this work to make plans and likely forget them within a week. Because the hustle and bustle of life is distracting. You will make no progress toward where you want to be. So, what do you need to do? You need to listen to the following concepts around execution and pick several of them to ground you, whichever ones are easiest for you. Number one, you must find your motivation. Keep that deepest why we talked about before close. You're going to need life purpose statements to guide you. Reference them when you're feeling that the times are getting tough or you need a spark of motivation to keep you going. Number two, get an accountability partner to join you on your journey. Have them go through the summit event with you so you can grow together and keep each other accountable along the way. Maybe you don't want to do a full planning session with them. That's okay too. But you need to, at the bare minimum, show them your quarterly and 5-year goals. That way, they can help inspire you to stay on target for the many steps along the way. Number three, as you get through your quarterly check ins, you may realize you are not making the progress you wanted to. Stop. Write down who or what is blocking you. You must gather the facts and figure out how to cut out toxicity and distractions in your life. They're making it so you don't make the progress you wanted. This can be difficult, and you will need to learn how to establish boundaries. This step is critical for success. And lastly, number four, you must visualize with checking in with your plans, specifically quarterly check ins. Every 3 months, you will have a mini summit event. Each time you do it, you will become faster and faster. But you will focus on updating and tracking where you are in your progress of the plans. For your quarterly check in, you must meet with your accountability partner or yourself every 3 months to look at your plans. You will continue to see the goalpost and chart a course for the next 3 months after the mini summit event. You must get visual. You will have to write your goals on the wall, nightstand, bathroom mirror, door when you leave the house, or on your phone, wherever you will see them every day. And ask yourself, what micro steps are you going to take today to make progress towards the next 3-month marker for your quarterly check in? Ask yourself, what are you going to do? Did you make progress? Did you ignore your goal page when you saw it? Why? Make the changes needed to start taking action. Take your visualizations further with a vision board with images of the future self you are trying to become. You can actually print things out and paste them out and put them on a wall, or sometimes you could actually do that digitally, where you create something and you'll have a picture on your phone that you can reference. But this is something to inspire you. You can also grab a notebook and jot down goals for the day, affirmations, or any other notes you have on your progress. The point here is to visually look at your plans, to put them in front of your face regularly, and make sure your check ins are effective. Data will set you free. This is one of my favorite things to say over and over again. In most scenarios, I can use it to help me out of a bad situation, but more importantly, help me into good situations in life. Stop spiraling in your mind. It's a sandbox of illusions. Data, facts, and truth are the realities of life, and you must constantly be showing your mind those items to keep it in check. So, what does that mean? You have to look at your plans, see your goals, and hold yourself accountable to what is actually happening around you. Use the data of the plans, the data of all this work you have done to create your 5-year, 2-year, and quarterly goals. Use that data as needed so that you can make the changes in life and conquer your summits. You should be able to use this video to actually sit down and make a plan for life. Remember, it's about having the mental tools to think into the future and find a bigger goal or dream, and then charting the mini steps to get there. Map those mini steps over time and check in regularly with your plans. That way you can make sure you're on course. And if you're not on course, Then you can adjust as needed. You need to execute with habits that support you to look at the data. I hope you enjoyed learning about the Summit Method, all detailed out in my book, Conquer Your Summit: How to Build a 5-Year Plan and Live Your Best Life. So, what should you do now? Well, don't forget about that free planning template, which you can get at www.conqueryoursummit.com/resources. There's also other things on the website that you can click around on or maybe dive into the book. So if you want to dive deeper, grab the ebook, paperback, audiobook, however you like to digest your books. I do actually also have some notebooks for purchase. I've been working on them with some of my art on the cover, so I hope it inspires you along the way. Lastly, please follow me on socials. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube at The Summit Method. My newsletter will post regular tips and tricks, plus any new releases of podcasts I guest on. I'm Malachi, and I will see you on the trail of life.